Welcome to Worthwhile Watches. I'm Rob. Today we're going to compare two watches, one from a well-known Swiss brand and the other from a not-so-well-known Chinese brand with a kind of unusual name. So let's see how these two compare. The well-known Swiss-made watch is the Hamilton Khaki Field Mechanical. I did a full review on this watch already. I'll link it in the description if you want to check it out. But for about 12 times less than the full retail price of the Hamilton, you can get this homage from AliExpress. This is the Escapement Time model H0300, or as it's called on the website, the Escapement Time VH31 Quartz Movement Watch 38mm case waterproof 100-meter super luminous. Weird names aside, let's see what kind of specs you get in this $50 watch. The case and bezel are stainless steel, and the crystal is K1 mineral glass, which is a type of heat-treated mineral glass that is supposed to be more shatter-resistant than sapphire, and more scratch-resistant than regular mineral glass. The crystal also has some AR coating, which does have a slight visible blue tint. Case dimensions are very similar to the Hamilton. The case is 38mm with a 20mm lug width. The lug-to-lug measurement is 47.1 millimeters on the Escapement Time compared to 46.9 on the Hamilton. The Escapement Time's case is 10.3 millimeters thick, including the domed crystal, just a bit thicker than the Hamilton's 9.5 millimeter thickness. On the supplied 2-pass fabric strap, the Escapement Time's total thickness is about 12.5 millimeters. The Escapement Time has a slightly smaller 6mm crown compared to the Hamilton's 6.5mm crown, but the Escapement Time's crown is screw down, which probably helps it claim 100 meters of water resistance compared to the Hamilton's 50 meters. Weight including the strap is right on 57 grams, which is very close to the Hamilton's 57.8 gram weight, including the strap. The lume application is identical on both dials. Stay tuned to see how they compare in a head-to-head battle of the lume later in this video. Both of these watches come supplied on a NATO-style strap. The Escapement Time's strap is a lighter khaki color compared to the Hamilton's olive green. The Escapement Time's strap has a brushed steel buckle and keeper that doesn't exactly match the bead-blasted case finish, but they match pretty closely. The strap looks pretty nice out of the box, and wears similarly to the Hamilton, but the strap is noticeably lower quality. More on that later. One of the biggest differences between these two watches is the movement. The Hamilton has a hand-wound mechanical movement, while the Escapement Time has a quartz Seiko VH31 movement, which ticks 4 times per second, giving the seconds hand more of the sweeping look of a mechanical movement. So there's the basic spec comparison, but let's take a closer look at these two side by side and get into the details. The dials of these two watches are very similar. The main difference is the name, Escapement Time and Hamilton, but there are other differences. You can see the numbers are slightly bigger and a slightly different font on the Escapement Time. But the dials are very close, and so are the hands. They are the same style. The Escapement Times might be a slightly whiter shade, but they're very close. The crystals are also quite different in that the Hamilton has a sapphire crystal and the Escapement Time has K1 mineral crystal. You can also see the Escapement Time has a blue tint to the anti-reflective coating. One of the biggest differences is the Hamilton has a nice even reflection, but the Escapement Time has this weird sort of squarish reflection that pulls the corners. It's very strange. The movement is also one of the major differences between these two. The Hamilton has a hand-wound mechanical movement, and the Escapement Time has a quartz Seiko VH31 movement, which ticks 4 times per second. As you can see, the ticking is quite similar here compared to most quartz watches. So the Escapement Time has a pretty smooth tick. The Escapement Time also has a screw-down crown, which helps it with its 100 meters of water resistance, whereas the Hamilton is just a push-pull crown with only 50 meters of water resistance. The operation of both is pretty nice and smooth though. Setting the time is easy on both. The case back of the Escapement Time features some information. It has water resistance rating, the movement type, and the battery type. So useful information there. And the Hamilton case back also has water resistance rating and Swiss made. Some other information there. They're very similar. Neither one of them is very fancy. The straps of these two are quite similar. They're both NATO style, and they both don't have a lot of extra length, so you don't have to worry about tucking it back on itself. This strap is a lighter khaki color, and this one is a darker olive green. The Hamilton has leather-like keepers. The Hamilton has a signed buckle, and the Escapement Times is unsigned. It's also sort of shield-shaped. The Escapement Time wears very similarly to the Hamilton, but the strap is a bit lower quality. As you can see, the hole that I've been using is already starting to fray a little bit. And I have not worn this all that much, just a couple of days on this strap so far. And it is starting to fray, so I'm not sure about the longevity of this strap. The head-to-head loom test turned out to be pretty interesting. Both of these watches have loom applied to all three hands and each hour marker. As you can see, they both start out about equal in brightness. Both are still visible by the end of 20 minutes, but the Escapement Time's hands are clearly brighter, but the Hamilton's indices are clearly brighter than the Escapement Time's. So the Escapement Time wins in overall brightness, but the Hamilton wins in consistency of loom across the hands and dial. Neither one is spectacular, but the Escapement Time does hold its own against the much more expensive Hamilton. And one of the major differences between these is the price. The Hamilton's full retail price is almost $600, and the Escapement Time is about $50, or just over $50. So, is the Hamilton really worth 12 times the price of the Escapement Time? That really just depends on what you want in a watch and what you find important. If you don't mind quartz, the Escapement Time is a great option. And with that smoother ticking seconds hand, it might be a very good option. The Hamilton has more history behind the name and heritage going all the way back to the 1800s. So if that's important to you, maybe the Hamilton is a good choice. You can find the Hamilton for closer to $400 to $450 if you look for a sale or get it from a gray market dealer. And the Escapement Time you can get for $50 to $55 pretty much any day at AliExpress. There are other options too on AliExpress from Militato or Tandorio or others that are similarly priced in the $50 to $75 price range. There are also other military style watches, some really good ones from Baltony in the $120 to $150 range. If you want to expand your budget a little bit, you could take a look at the Bulova Hack series in the $150 to $300 range. Or there are the Marathon, General Purpose, or Navigator models, which you can get for $350 to $400. Some of those have tritium also, so those are good options to look into, all of which are going to be a little bit cheaper than this Hamilton. So to wrap this up, I think it's pretty amazing that these two look so similar for such a difference in price. So it's really up to you to decide what you find important in a watch. But here are two choices that should both serve well from two very different price ranges. If you'd like to see the full review of this Hamilton Khaki Field Mechanical, you can click the video here. Or check out one of the other videos to see something else. Thank you for watching.